I live in Norwalk, Connecticut, and I've been here for about 20 years. It's a great place to raise a family and live. I was super excited to hear that Norwalk has a new brand logo slogan, and I was really interested to see what the city had come up with for my hometown. To give you a little background here about Norwalk, there's a lot to like about this city. We're about 45 miles outside of New York City. We have world-class public transportation that could take us into one of the most amazing cities on the planet. We are right on the Long Island Sound here. Norwalk is also called Oyster Town. The barrier islands that we have that surround Norwalk create a perfect incubator for oysters. Now, I don't happen to like oysters, but it's an interesting point that we're like an oyster hub for the country, actually. Norwalk was founded in 1649, which makes it essentially ancient. It's an ancient city for American standards. It has ties to the Revolutionary War. The British came in and marched up the Norwalk River and essentially burned the city down. There's an art community here. It's diverse. Anyway, there's a lot that's really great, a lot of great stories that can be told about this city. So I wanted to hear how the city wanted to tell its story to the world. So the slogan for Norwalk is, "I love Norwalk. I heart Norwalk." That's what they came up with. They came up with something that was established by a city that's 45 miles south of here with "I love New York." They were inspired by what New York City had done 50 years ago. Disappointing isn't a word that I would use for how I feel about what Norwalk has done here from a brand perspective. It's lazy. There's so much that can be said about this town, and that's what you go with. You go with something, a retread of something that was established by an iconic city, and the logo done by Milton Glaser, which turns out to be this iconic logo. You're going to compete with that? You're going to appropriate that? Here's the problem. Well, there's a lot of problems with it, but here's the thing. If you're going to borrow an idea, if you're going to be inspired by an idea, you had better one-up it. You had better do a better job of it. I learned this lesson very early on in my career. As a copywriter, I had a portfolio of ads that I created for a florist. And there was an iconic advertising campaign that was done by the American Floral Council. I had one image, but these 3 different size bouquets. One had 1 single stem rose in it. The other one had a dozen roses in it. And then the last bouquet had like 50 roses in it. So more intensity as you went up the line there, right? And with a single headline that said, "Exactly how mad is she?" Okay, it's a beautifully simple, pure ad. It's so great. And I was like, oh, this is really cool. So I decided to come up with my own version of this. Let me show you. Here's my own version. This was in my portfolio as a 20-plus-year-old. Foreplay for makeup sex. And, this is for a florist shop. The tagline is "Saving asses daily." Okay. The married man, what is this? The married man's white flag, right? So you've got white roses there. 12 steps to a speedy recovery. Okay. When I showed that ad campaign to creative directors, it was unanimous. They all said, get rid of that campaign. And the reason is because somebody did that campaign, and the somebody that did that campaign did it a lot better than I did it. And they said, no, if you're going to try to do that, you better do a better job. And this was not better work. That's my note for my own hometown. Try again. If you're going to take something from a city that dwarfs you in every way, you better do it a lot better.